All right, family. We live again with the general, man. We got some fire for you today. We're gonna be talking about a legendary pharaoh of the old kingdom, the father of Khufu. A lot of people don't know this brother, but they should know him because he's the most profound pyramid builder of all times. The most profound pyramid builder of all time. We talking about Sneferu. That's right. And like I say, he is the most profound builder, pyramid builder of all time. He was the foundational, the first king of the fourth dynasty. And that fourth dynasty is a beast. Man, that fourth dynasty is a beast. People be talking about, man, the 18th dynasty and how profound the 18th dynasty is. But man, when people say the greatest, everybody bring up the 18th dynasty, man. But man, that fourth dynasty is a beast. I'm just gonna tell you, starting off with Sneferu, who built three pyramids, not little pyramids. He built three pyramids, and a couple of them he was pushing the envelope, and but they still there, blowing minds to this day. He ruled around 26 13 BCE to around 2589 BC. Now listen to that. Let's be clear about something. Let's be clear about something. 2613 BC. And real talk, I'm just gonna be real with you. They have lowball Egypt to the point. Cause you can look at the goddamn technology and see that this is hundreds of thousands of years of architectural development. You understand what I'm saying? It's so advanced that people was just saying that aliens came and built it. This is how people saying Atlanteans and Lemurians and these mythological civilizations that you would have needed some mythological technology. So you have to understand, and this is crazy, because Egypt supposedly started around 3100 BC. And so already around 2600 BC, they already building megalithic pyramids that it would have taken hundreds of thousands of years to develop the knowledge. That's why it be killing me. I be laughing. People be talking about, well, man, they got mounds that's older than the pyramid. Motherfucker, you can't start with 2600 BC. Nigga, you got to take the hundreds of thousands of years of development and add it to it. You talking about a mound. Well, Africa got mounds older than your mound. You can't compare a goddamn mound to a damn y'all never develop out of the mound stage. Africa had mounds. Yeah, shit. They got burials in Africa. Do you know they got a burial in Africa? That they pre-planned the burial. The child was laid in the grave on the side, had a mat, had like a head dress. And then you know how old this grave was? 75,000 years old. Do you hear what I'm saying? Purposely dug grave. You understand? At 75,000 years ago. Mind blowing. So people got to understand, they have they have done the dating system of Africa so dirty. You know what I'm saying? They just don't want to say, that our people had been developing that pyramid. I don't care what nobody said. That pyramid is, at minimum, at least 400,000 years of evolutionary technology. You couldn't build that in no 100,000 years. You couldn't do it. Not coming from no damn hut. You know what I'm saying? You have to use your damn brain and give it. There's no way you could explain it less than that. And that's why they don't want to say, where you was among. No, you was not. You were already developing, you were already developing. And when you talk about Egypt, you talking about the last civilization on the Nile. You're talking about the last civilization. This is where it crystallized. But it had been developing, at the beginning of the river, you understand, hundreds of thousands of years ago. They will even give you 200 and almost 300,000 years, and then after that, they're going to start well, we had, and you can't let the last man come out the goddamn cave, count the numbers. Anytime you let another nigga count your pockets, you gonna always come up short. You can't let no other nigga count your pockets. Oh man, and you know what I'm saying? You didn't have $10,000 in your pocket. Motherfucker say, oh man, you only had 3. Kept 7. Kept 7 for itself. You can't let nobody count your paper like that. And so this is where we talk. And so Sneferu, and we talking about 300 years. You see what I'm saying? We talking about 300 years from Narmer, and we about to put something up, and we talking about 300 years from Narmer to Sneferu. You get Narmer 3,100. Well, you get a little more. You talking about maybe a little more than that. You get about 500 years. About 26. Here you got Imhotep, who built a skyscraper that's still standing today. You see what I'm saying? That's still standing the damn day. That was built in the 3rd dynasty of Egypt. So Egypt, when it came into being, it was already at its most advanced stage. Don't nothing start advanced like that without enormous amount of development. You see what I'm saying? No way, no how is you gonna get no damn pyramid, no step pyramid. And see, the thing is, they don't want to talk about that when you go up further up that river, that they was carving down into the mountains, and that's really what they was doing. And so, when they got down into Egypt, they didn't have all the mountains, and so then they reversed the technology and started using them blocks. But where they had a natural pyramids, which was the mountains, they carved right on down into the mountain, just like Valley of the Kings and the mortuary temple of Hatshepsut, Abu Simbel, where they carved directly into the mountains. So it's many temples, African temples, off in the mountains further up in Africa that they have never found, and I pray that they never do. You see, if we find them, I hope we back in power so that we can respect, and back in power in our minds too, so that we can respect, what it is. Some of these Christians and Muslim niggas, they might want to, they'll lowball it, and you know what I'm saying, and they'll give it over to the Neanderthal if they can. But anyway, you looking at now, this is the first pyramid, and this is the step pyramid built by the father of pyramid building, Imhotep. He's the father of pyramid, and he was the one that came before Sneferu, that gave Sneferu the blueprint. Imhotep gave Sneferu the blueprint, because if Imhotep would have lived, or he would have built that step pyramid a little earlier in his life, he would have reached the true pyramid first, because he had it right there. You know what I'm saying? All you had to do is fill in the steps, you know what I'm saying, and take it to a point. And a lot of people be talking about you ain't got no damn pyramid. I don't know what kind of geometry you niggas is using out there. A pyramid is again a triangle. And when you know the geometric blueprint for a triangle, coming to a point, smooth sides, ain't no steps. You see, you got to have all smooth sides coming up to a point. And so there is no, a mound is not a pyramid. If you go to geometry class and say a mound is a triangle, your ass is going to fail. So a lot of people claim to have pyramid. They don't have pyramids. They don't have true pyramids. They have, people say pyramidal like structure. Okay, whatever float your boat, whatever float your boat and make you feel good, go right on here. So you see, and so right after the Grand Master, the High Priest Imhotep, and here's Unis. This is the pyramid of Unis. Now I was able to go down in that pyramid. That's where you got the pyramid text. And I was able, and see, that's the one thing about these pyramids. Even if it ain't all the way right outside the pyramid, obviously Unis didn't have the kind of money that Khufu and Khafra and Sneferu, Imhotep, he didn't have that kind of money, or he didn't have that kind of time. And so what they would do, they would take that money and they will build elaborate burial systems up under the pyramid. So this pyramid, it has stones on it, but they wasn't large stones. They were still nice. And, the Arabs came and took the stones and used it to build other structures in Egypt. But what was down in the bottom of this pyramid is some of the oldest, matter of fact, the oldest writings in the world is in Unis pyramid, called the pyramid text. And that's around 2500 BC. That's around 25, and the wall is, we ain't talking about no, you ask these people for something, they can't show you a goddamn thing. They're going to show you some scribble, scrabble and shit. Man, this man had hieroglyphs all over the pyramid, the burial tomb. He had thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of glyphs down there on every wall. They wasn't just beginning, man. Egypt came into being fully developed. So you already know that you can't start at 30 there. That's when that's when they start showing off. But you got to put them hundreds of thousands of years of development that it took to get to that point that they don't want to talk about, because that's going to put you so far ahead of them that they head to start spinning, and they don't want that to happen. Now, I used to believe this pyramid, and a lot of people did. They used to believe that this is the pyramid of Meidum. Now, I didn't physically get up on that pyramid, but I did see it. I did see it. I was able to see it with my own eyes at a distance. And so I thought, but this was one of the earliest failures of Sneferu. They have now acknowledged that this pyramid is also a pyramid of Sneferu. And you can see, just like with Imhotep's pyramid, it is a step pyramid. You see, it is a step pyramid, but what you can see is that they're filling them steps in. You see, they trying to bring it to the true pyramid, and I believe the outer casing of this pyramid, and here I got Sneferu, the outer casing of this pyramid fell down. But see, this show you that all of the development stages of the pyramid is in Africa, because we had the failures. You had the failures. Here you got Imhotep giving them the blueprint. You start with the step pyramid, and then you come to the pyramid of Meidum, and you see that they're starting to fill the steps in to bring it to a true pyramid. He failed here, but it's still a wonder of the world, because it was built 2575. There's not another civilization nowhere on the planet. You could go to goddamn Sumeria. You could go to India. There is nothing on the planet, and this is crazy. There's nothing else on the planet. And the Sumerians never built in stone. They built in mud. Every ziggurat that they ever built over there was in mud. They never reached the level of stone, period. And this must be made clear because people trying to put Sumeria before Egypt. How? And it's over thousands and hundreds of thousands of years of development before Sumeria even came on the damn scene. And people trying to, but this is because they trying to promote the Bible. Abraham supposedly come out of that. That's our people over there, no doubt. You see what I'm saying? But you cannot put the great granddaughters, and this is that's a great granddaughter of Cush. That ain't no one of the elder daughters. Egypt is the elder daughter of Cush. And like I said, the civilization of India had stone structures where the Sumerians only had mud structures. So the Indians were masons. You see what I'm saying? They were made. Them was Cushites that came from the Nile. You see, them were Cushites, but you can see right there that India was more advanced than Sumeria. But people put Sumeria above these other highly ranked daughters of Cush because they trying to promote Abraham. They trying to promote Muhammad. That's the only reason. Other than that, it'll take its chronological place, still get praise because we give it praise because that's our people. You see what I'm saying? But they have stolen our legacy, and we got to do whatever we got to do to get it back. Even if we got to steal it back, just like they stole it, we steal it back. Do what you got to do. Sneferu. This is the second pyramid of Sneferu, and he built this right around 2570. So understand this. Don't believe that they use the same masons on each damn pyramid. You see what I'm saying? Because they probably was on their way to working on this one very shortly after the fact. So do you know how many professionals they had in ancient Egypt? Just look at that, man. We talking about institutions all over the place where you got that many trained masons, artisans. You got to paint it. So you got to make the paint. You got to go get the products to make. You got people carving hieroglyphs. That's their profession. You got the stone masons. You got people that mastered in bringing the stone to the area where the construction was. You got all on a megalithic scale. And at the same time, they building this pyramid, they building temples all over Egypt. So nowhere in the ancient world where you had that many trained professionals in so many areas of higher learning. We got to stop this nonsense. We living in a world today that's built and see people live in the luxuries of ancient Egypt based on civilization today, but they live in the mythologies of the Bible and shit. Tell you that God and Abraham and God and Joshua and all of this shit. You know what I'm saying? And put the Bible and the Quran and all of that over Egypt. But in reality, they wouldn't even been able to write the Bible and the Quran if it was not for Egypt. That's our language. That's our technology, the paper, the pen, the alphabet, all of that belong to us. But anyway, so you got this pyramid, and look, this is 31 stories. Do you understand? This is 31 stories. This is 344 feet. Man, do you know a whole lot of cities in the United States don't have a 31-story building right now? The majority of them ain't got no 30. You have to go to the major cities. But 31 stories, that's a tall building. I wouldn't want to fall off the top of it. I tell you that. You see, and I went into this pyramid right here 3 times. Went in this pyramid 3 times, and this is where he reached perfection. Right here, Sneferu. So Sneferu got three large megalithic pyramids. He built more pyramids than any pharaoh ever, any person on the planet. He put more stone on the earth than any one king of the ancient world. You see, and you can see right here that he came right behind the other one, which means that they had to have, other work forces at the same time. So, I mean, you talking about, man, you probably talking about hundreds of thousands of stone masons that have been hundreds of thousands of stone masons. Do you hear that? Hundreds of thousands of stone masons that were building and constructing stone megalithic structures, pyramids, and temples all over Egypt at the same time. You see, and so this is the first true pyramid. There's no steps. It is steps if you get to the rope, if you watch it as they construct it. But they did what was necessary to fill in the steps, and they had a smooth casing over you would have never saw this. The casing has been ripped off of it. It I believe, would have been a white limestone casing over this, and it would have been shining for hundreds and hundreds of miles into the desert. And his son, who built the largest and the most greatest structure on the planet Earth, Khufu, the pyramid of Khufu, that's his father. His father gave him the blueprint on how to build that. And his grandson, Khafra, came right behind him, his father, Khufu, his grandfather, Sneferu, and finally, the little pyramid of Menkaure. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm laughing because this pyramid can go in any other culture on the world, and it'd be the most holiest structure. You know what I'm saying? It would be the most holy. Man, any other nation in the world would love to have this pyramid. Because look how beautiful it is. It's a beautiful pyramid. Even in it, missing the casing, it's still a beautiful pyramid. But this is, and so we're showing you the pyramid evolution in Africa. Ain't nobody brought no damn pyramids to Africa, because we could show you, and even before, let me get off here, but even before that, I could show you before Imhotep. This was the mastaba. And now you see, now this is the mastaba. Look how big the mastaba is. It's just one story, but look how big it is. You see where the man is at, and you see this mastaba. And so and they use mud brick on a lot of that. They use mud brick on a lot of it, but their techniques was far greater than the Sumerian, because the Sumerian shit looked like garbage. It melted down. But yet and still, you still got this mastaba. And like I say, you could go up under this mastaba, and you could go down into the burial chamber, the grave pit, and it's immaculate. It's immaculate even to this day. So the first dynasty of pharaohs, they would have had a mastaba like this. And they did, but of course, when you use inferior material, which they did, they used brick. It did not survive. It did not survive, but much of the interior burial, the burial area did survive. So they were able to get a lot of artifacts from up out of there. But this is the evolution. So no aliens, no other people from nowhere came and did nothing. The whole of the pyramid evolutionary structure took place in Africa, period. Okay, so we want to give high praise to the great king Sneferu. Let me get him back up here. Let's get Sneferu back up here and give him a round of applause for being the greatest, one of the greatest pharaohs. And you got to put Sneferu, man. Sneferu is it got to be in the top 5. There's no way he cannot be in the top 5. He's in my top 5. of pharaohs, greatest pharaohs of all time, just on the influence that the three pyramids and the influence that he had on Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure. That's his influence. So with all six of them pyramids, got to pay a homage and allegiance to this great pharaoh. And if you are a Mason out there and you don't know a Sneferu, nigga, you don't tell nobody you a Freemason. Don't do it, especially if they didn't watch this video, because they gonna laugh at your ass. They gonna say, nigga, get your ass out of here. You see, you don't know Sneferu? Oh man, you rob their ass of their dignity. If you watch this video and you catch them off guard, man, do you know Sneferu is? And they say, no, I don't know who Sneferu, man, you rob that nigga of all his degrees. You know, it'd be like Mario Brothers and shit. When they bump a motherfucker and he lose all his coins and shit, that motherfucker lose all his degrees and shit. You feel me? Then anyway, family, we'll be right back. Let me see. I know I got a couple of comments out there. But anyway, yeah. We'll be black. Don't y'all go nowhere. But anyway, man, we just getting started this evening. Make sure y'all tap that Patreon because we going to operate. No doubt about it. We're going to operate tonight. I'm doing, and I got some membership videos that's going up too. So if y'all want to get that extra curriculum, nigga, you get on there and you become a member. You understand what I'm saying? And get that work and get over there to Patreon because I'm tapping back into the visuals now. You understand what I'm saying? And y'all gonna see the Grand Master. And you know what I'm saying? Operating like no other. Okay. I see y'all in a minute, family. Black Power.